Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to do a comparison of the first time we've ever done anything from this distillery, the Arran single malt Scotch whiskey. We're going to do the old versus the new version of the 18-year-old. Dustin, both of these come in at 46% ABV, but I'm sort of new to Arran whiskeys. I know you have a few of them here that we're going to try out tonight. But just looking at these whiskeys right here, you can tell how much darker the newest version is compared to the other version. Why is that, my friend?
Yeah, I believe they've gone to exclusive sherry finishing on the new one, whereas the prior one was a bourbon sherry blend.
And the new one's just sherry finishing?
I believe this is all sherry. If it's not, it's very little of anything else. I, unfortunately, Mike, did not do my homework.
Okay, well, we're mainly here to tell you, ABV, what to expect from the whiskey as far as smell and taste. So that's the main thing. So what we're going to do, we've already poured these ones. So the older version of the Arran, we are going to put on our right, on your left over here, and it'll be the lighter one, and this will be over here by me. And then Dustin, the newer one, will be over here by you, and that one will be the slightly darker one. So we'll kind of put these here on the side just so you guys understand. The ones over here will be the new one. The ones over here will be the old Arran. But again, both 46% ABV. Unchill filtered, correct?
Unchill filtered and natural color. Arran does everything right. They right now are one of the value distilleries out there, Mike. Both these bottles were purchased for about $100.
Wow. That's
now,
good
I will say that guy right there is $160 retail here in, like, if you buy it in Kentucky.
Yeah, the older version?
The older version is, I haven't seen these yet showing up, but I found a shop with that on sale for $100, and that's why I own it.
So let me ask you this: when did they change from bourbon and a sherry to just the sherry?
So this is the 2019. That's the 2018.
Okay.
So it just happened. I have not seen a 2020, but I'm assuming it's going to remain like this one.
All right. So since we have two versions of 18, this is going to be a comparison review. So we're going to tell you a little bit about the whiskeys, but mainly how they compare to each other, since you may be looking at both versions of these and trying to figure out which one to get.
Exactly. And I think other people have done the reviews of the new and the old. So I think there's good reviews out there. So now it's just a question of which one.
Yeah, which one do you like better? Yeah. I mean, since they're both apparently readily available. We're going to start with the old version, the one that has bourbon maturation in it. And again, this one's a slightly lighter color.
Yep.
But
so you know what this reminds me right away of, Mike?
Give it to me.
If you took one of those caramel chews and you added some salt.
Yes. So you're getting that maritime characteristic, which I expect from that region in general, and then right by the sea.
Yeah, I mean, it's that, and it's a little bit of butterscotch, caramel, and I mean, it's like, again, it's those chews that your grandmother would have, sitting around.
This reminds me of the old version of Glenfarclas 17. It doesn't have the Glenfarclas character, but as far as that butterscotch smell, that Glenfarclas 17, the first time I tried it, like one that was bottled in 2011 or 2012, man, that butterscotch is very reminiscent of that one.
I've got a newer bottle of the 17, and I actually get the same notes myself.
Yeah.
Actually, it's right in there.
Without the salt note in it, this could be confused for a Speyside whiskey.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, again, a lot of that bourbon maturation characters, I'm getting vanilla, I'm getting caramel. And actually, caramel is fairly strong, like almost bourbon level caramel sweetness on the nose.
No, this is very caramel.
And this is my first time with this particular whiskey, so it's always fun to kind of dive into something new.
Yeah. So do you want to nose the newer one, or do you want to go right into the taste?
No, let's nose the new one just to kind of give you guys a comparison. Now, this one's far darker.
Yeah.
This only sherry one being their natural color. There's obviously far more sherry matured cask influence in this newer version of it.
Yeah, so right away, Mike, I actually get some dusty oak, which I wasn't expecting here.
Yeah.
But I mean, it actually smells like it's got older whiskey notes coming through.
I agree.
I mean, it really does smell like it's old. And then I'm getting, I never say this, but I almost get like currants.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like you get in like a red wine.
Yeah, I tell you what, this one is obviously very sherried.
Yeah.
I don't know what the cask maturation, if it's first or second fill, but it's just very dark cherry, some type of dark berry note, red or dark berry. I would also say that the wine influence is so obvious, this particular one. You're getting those regular, like figs, dates, sort of heavy sherry notes on this.
Yeah, I do think the amount of sherry they put on here is kind of, though, overshadowing Arran's natural spirit, which...
It's a bit of an overcoat.
Yeah, and, I think a lot of people who are into Arran like Arran because they like the Arran malt. They like the salty maritime notes that are coming through, and it's kind of lost those a little bit here. They're still there, but it's a lot more work to nose it and find it.
This is far more, the newer version, the sherried version, is far more dessert whiskey than this other one is. Far more. You're right, the maritime, the salty notes is not nearly in there in the new one as compared to the old one.
Well, I think they're different desserts. I almost think both of these are dessert-like. I mean, this is your butterscotch, your
It's more
vanilla
of a candy.
caramel, whereas this is more of like a...
This is fruitcake.
Yeah, this is something that would go well with chocolate.
Yeah, Christmas cake, fruit cake, something like that.
Yeah, if you were pairing this with some kind of chocolatey dessert, I think it'd be beautiful.
And this comes off, even though they're both 46%, the sherry version, the newer version, comes off like far richer and denser. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just the sherry cast.
I think it is, yeah. And I mean, the nose is almost like, it almost feels like on the nose, like it still needs to open up a little bit.
Which in the case, I mean, you've drunk that bottle down.
Yeah, it's at the halfway point. I mean, this has
Yeah.
been open. I've had it for a while. I will admit, these have been kind of my go-to scotch to start the night. Almost every time I go for a scotch, I'm like, you know what? I want something 46 to start out
Easy
before I
drinkers.
jump into like the high proof stuff. And these have done the job, man.
All right, so let's go back to the original one since that was bourbon cast maturation. Let's take a little sip. Let's see how we compare those on the nose. We'll add some water to them.
It's actually sweeter. Sweeter here. I do get a slight, bit of vanilla wafer, which kind of gives me like a little twinge of banana, which I generally get on younger whiskeys. At 18 years, I probably shouldn't be getting that note, but it could just be something to do with the distillate.
You're getting salt. You're getting vanilla. You're getting a small amount of oak. I would expect more oak out of 18 years. The oak really isn't all that present. When you said vanilla, you said wafer. I do get like that vanilla wafer. Have you ever had like those little Debbie like chocolate wafers? They make a vanilla version of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, you get a little bit of that too as well.
Yeah.
They're very like crispy but light, kind of like light, thin, airy sort of taste.
Yeah, it did get a little fruitier from the nose. It's got a little more fruit. It's got a little bit more candied sweetness versus like...
Slightly more than the nose did.
Yeah, not a huge amount of difference, but it is. I was expecting, just from nosing it here, thinking I'm going to get more of like a oakier, refined, and it comes off a little bit more sweet, candy forward.
Yeah, if you would have told me this is a 15-year-old whiskey,
Yeah.
that wouldn't have shocked me.
Not at all.
Yeah, no, it's maybe the cast they used, this particular one, where maybe weren't first or second fill cast.
Yeah.
So at least the bourbon cast.
No, and I should note, I mean, we're doing an extra sherry bomb. We've had a little bit of sherry whiskey today, but there is actually a nice sherry note.
All right, let's move on to the new one. Let's see where we pick on the palate on this.
I'm right back to oaky, leathery. There's some raisin. Nice bit of sweetness here. Really nice whiskey overall. I mean, it comes off, but again, it comes off older.
It does. It does definitely comes off older. I don't know if that's just the pure sherry cast maturation that makes me feel that way, but or maybe the wood was older or something like that. But it does come off as more refined, more complex, older style whiskey.
No, I mean, honestly, it actually gives me a little bit of reminders of like those old 18-year Macallans.
Yeah, so let's since we put a little bit of water in it, let's just go into the smell and the taste and see if we really picked up anything. We're going back to the older version.
Yeah, I don't get any differences here with water.
Not a ton. 46%. I was trying to be a little light on the water just because the ABV isn't super high, over 50%.
I'm really enjoying it quite a bit though, but yeah, there's no distinct differences coming in there. Now, I think it did open up the new one a little bit.
Almost the sugary sweetness of the sherry, the newer sherry.
Yeah,
is kind
the
of
other one came in more oaky. The water has brought out the sweetness, pushed some of that oak down a little bit.
Yeah, but you know what? That's kind of what I was thinking. Like that came off richer and denser to me, the sherried one. And with a few drops of water, being that it comes off more candied, more sugary, that makes sense. Being that it came off kind of more dense at first, more condensed as far as the flavors.
Now, when you go back to the old 18 on the taste, I'm getting more oak. I'm getting more salt. I'm getting more maritime. The water actually did quite a bit to help this one.
Yeah, I tell you what, a lot of times with some of these whiskeys that are aged by the sea, and I don't know if this is aged by the sea, but they're distilled by the sea.
Yeah, I believe it is, but I'd have to.
I think I've read a little bit of both. I think I read that some of the whiskeys are actually aged on the mainland, so they're not. That's distilled there, and
Gotcha.
there's as far as the warehouse process, some of that has moved over to the mainland. But it still has a feel that it is close to the water somewhere. But I mean, a pleasant whiskey. I do feel like the salt and those notes come up a little bit more with water.
Yeah, it drinks more like it's 18 years old with the water.
That's a good one. Now, the sherried one, man, it just kind of really, and I'm not a huge sherry bomb guy, but I find myself gravitating more towards the newer version of the 18 that is just only sherry.
So at first I was going to say it kind of hurt this one because I lost some of that dusty oak that I really enjoyed at first.
It brings out sweetness.
But at the end, in the finish, it's sweeter. It's actually a longer finish now.
Very dessert.
Chocolate desserts now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Before I was, I wanted to say like some brown sugars, but mostly heavy oak, drying. Now I'm getting chocolatey. Very nice chocolate notes.
Yeah, no, especially on the finish, the chocolate notes definitely go up. A little bit of bitter chocolate, but also some of that milk chocolate. It's almost kind of like both of them.
Yeah, it's definitely dark chocolate and milk chocolate. And I'm starting to think European oak is involved here in some way because I'm getting a little bit of that spice.
Yeah, it is a little bit spicy with water on the end. You're right, on the finish.
At first I wasn't going to go one way or the other, and I don't know the maturation, but if it's not European oak, boy, did they find some nice spicy American oak.
Yeah, you're right. This does have the feel of French oak to it.
Yeah.
At least some of the cast.
Yep.
So, like any time with the Versus series, if someone's picking up the tab of the bar, which one would you pick?
Mike, going into this, I was going to say the old one because I like the Arran character coming out, but I'll tell you what, doing them side by side, I'm taking the new one. I'm taking it pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I would definitely prefer the newer version, the only sherried version. This one was a nice drinker.
Yeah.
But that one's really something I would look forward to drinking again.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're both at the same thing. We prefer the new Arran single malt, 18 years old, the sherry only maturation. Yep. So if you guys are deciding between the two, those are our thoughts and feelings on
The champion.
Yeah. The champion for today, at least.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, we're both kind of in agreement. The new version of the 18-year-old is the one that we would prefer, especially if someone was buying a drink for us at the bar. Not that they have these at the bar here in Columbus, Ohio.
They
or
do
in
not.
Cincinnati, but that's kind of the idea behind the Versus series. So let us know what you guys think if you had both of these, and if you're decided to buy one or the other. If you're looking for more of a shared one, we definitely prefer or suggest that you buy this version of it. And until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
See you then.